Well, we want to say hello to you, yes, and especially you, and welcome once again to the Tom Ford Fridays. This is the Men, Money, and Matrimony show where we listen to men have a barbershop conversation while the ladies are flies on the wall. I am Pastor Jeff. I am your host, and this is brought to you by none other than the Global Women Wealth Warriors, where the creator and founder is none other than the beautiful one herself, Miss Renee Noor. Now, let me go ahead and put the disclaimer out before we men get started, and I forget it. The opinions shared on this show are the opinions of those who express them only, and not that of the GW3, the Global Women Wealth Warriors, the board, or Renee Noor. And with that, let's go ahead and get the guest on to the show. We've got Jonathan. We want to let them tell you who they are and what they do. So if we can bring Jonathan on to the screen, we will greatly appreciate that. And we've got some folks live with us here on Facebook and YouTube. And if you are ready for the show, we want you to go ahead and share it out on whatever platform that you are in. Let some other people know that Tom Ford Fridays with Pastor Jeff is indeed live. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and share and invite some folks. If you're on YouTube, invite some folks, subscribe and like. And if you're on Clubhouse, go ahead and hit that square down at the bottom of the screen with the up arrow, because we soar. You can't soar below. So hit that up arrow and invite some folks in, share it on Clubhouse, because some other men and women need to be here. Now, I saw Jonathan pop up. If we can bring Jonathan back up, we let us tell us where he is and what it is that he does. Jonathan, welcome. Jonathan was there at the Power to Soar this past weekend. Jonathan, how are you doing, brother? You're on mute, Jonathan. If you are with us, we see you there on the live, but we see you on mute while we're waiting on Jonathan to come up. We want to go ahead and acknowledge those that we have on the on our Clubhouse. We've got Jacoby. We've already heard from Sam, and we've got Steve. Hopefully Steve will be joining us on the live. And let's see who else we have in the house. We've got James there in the listening lounge. And James, if you like, raise your hand and come on up to the speaking stage. And we've got Brother Terrence, who's always supporting us. I don't know if he's able to speak or not, but Terrence, come on up to the speaking stage if you're able to. And there we've got Pastor Terrence that just logged in. And I'm going to tell you, it was a wonderful experience meeting these powerful men in person at the Power to Soar conference. So let's see if Jonathan has gotten his audio together yet. Is Jonathan able to speak to us here on the live yet? If not, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to very briefly go to the Clubhouse. Look here, Pastor Jeff can rock it. We're going to go to our strong king, Jacoby, who just got on the phone. So we're going to go to Sam. Sam, tell us who you are, where you are, and what you do.
I'm first of all a child of God. I'm a husband. I'm a father of 4 kids, entrepreneur with my wife in our home-based business. And I'm all about helping people learn who they are and being all that they can become.
We appreciate that, Sam. And put in the comments there on Clubhouse how people can contact you with what you do. And we know, as you've already shared, you had a wonderful new experience on this weekend as you supported Vandy, your beautiful wife and bride, so that she could attend the conference. And you said you got a new respect for taking care of 4 children, being the mama papa there for the few days that she was away. And so we salute you for that. We're going to go to Steve. Steve, are you there? Flash your mic. All right, Steve is not there. While we're waiting for Steve, we do know that Steve is on a different time zone than us. So we're going to move it right along. There he is. Steve is on the live.
Pastor Jeff,
Steve.
how are you?
I'm doing good, brother. You're looking awful handsome and dapper there, brother. How are you?
I hope you can listen to me and you can hear me and you can see me very well, right?
We hear you very well and we see you very well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me once again. And this is a great space wherein we are connecting with the people and sharing our ideas. So my name is Steve Johnson. I am right now in Singapore. I am director of WIS Marketing. That's one of the digital marketing company. CEO of a couple of companies, Visualize High and Shopper Style. Those are the companies which are on e-commerce platform, and one is into manufacturing. So as I am also a motivator, writer, poet, and also coach. So that's all about me.
All
Thank
right.
you so much, Pastor Jeff,
Well,
for the
thank you so
space.
very much, Steve, for joining us. And we're going to move right along. Let's see, is Pastor Terrence with us? Are you able to speak, Pastor Terrence?
Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Friday to everyone that's joining this Friday. I am Pastor T.J. Davis, aka Pastor Terrence. My mission is to enlighten, equip, and empower the vision in manhood. I'm delighted to be here today. Pastor Jeff, thank you so much for being my accountability partner for 2022 to life. Thank you so much, Pastor Jeff, for inviting me today. And I'm excited about the unknown topic.
Absolutely. And we'll go to your namesake, Terrence Elmore. How are you, King?
Doing great, doing great. Good afternoon, everyone. I am a Terrence P. Elmore. I am a writer, author, poet, and podcast host. I'm on a journey to spread love in a world that seems to be full of hate, one message at a time.
Well, Jen, we want to say welcome again to those who are in the listening lounge. We got Brother James there, and we appreciate you being here. We want to again say thank you. Thank you for each one of the kings that are joining us. And we're going to jump right in, as usual, with questions from the ladies first, and then we'll go into those topics that are of interest to us men. And so the very first question, it's a question that we've had before, but it's a question that came in the survey that I did just before the conference. And that question came from a young lady that wanted to know from us men, what are the qualities that we are looking for in a woman? What are the qualities that we are looking for in a woman? Now, if you're already married, you still can share with us what those qualities are, but I'm sure you're going to be careful. Well, hopefully your wife has every last one of those qualities. For those of you who are single, you can absolutely be 100% free to share exactly what it is, because the ladies really want to know. So we're going to go ahead and start out with Steve. Steve, if you're there, what are the qualities that you are looking for in a woman? Steve, you are on mute. Unmute yourself off of. There you go.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. So we want to know, the
Okay.
ladies want to know, what are the qualities that Steve is looking for in a woman?
Most definitely, first, women of great integrity. It's not only telling truth to me, but they should be honest to themselves first. Second thing is, it's my quote, I am not the one you know I am, but I can be the one you want me to be. So handle me with love, respect, and care. A lady who respects her father is going to respect the man. Respect, care, love, forgiving woman. Even if there is any mistake happens by, chance, we are angry. There are so many things in life which can happen. So if she is forgiven, definitely compassionate, that woman. Also, who is always around you, respects you, your space, whenever you need, whenever you want to talk, whenever you want to share something. No need to nag, no need to, judge. That's one of the good quality that any man would like to because what the problem is that women would like to say anything and everything for the heck of get out of their heart, but most of the times they're not ready to listen. So a good listener, most importantly, right? And also kindness, kind person, a kind woman, who's kind to people, who's kind to neighbors, who's kind to parents, who's kind to friends. So kindness is most definitely I would be looking for it. Encouraging person, who encourages you. You're doing anything, encourages you, supports you for that. Definitely, the family is going to be beautiful. Thank you. That's from my side.
Thank you so much, Steve. And what I like about that share that you gave is the one thing that I think women expect men to look for. You didn't even mention it. And that's the thing that they spend billions and billions and billions of dollars in, Steve, and that is in their beauty, how they look. You talked about more of their inner qualities than you did of what they look like. So thank you so very much for sharing that, Steve. We're going to go to the clubhouse. We're going to go to Sam. Sam, what is it that men are the qualities that men are looking for in a woman?
Well, for me, I honestly, I'll start out just sharing some of the things that I love about my wife, Andy. I love how much she does for us and our kids, the working, the efforts of meals and the activities, putting the kids, taking so much time to do so much for them, as well as for our church and for the community. She's always thinking outside of the box. She's thinking bigger picture out of just like, her own bubble. And that's a huge thing to me. This could be different for different men. For men of God, looking for a godly woman who is humble and wants to put him first in her life. And also, loves you. I mean, that's got to be, of course, the most important thing there. You don't want to be with somebody who doesn't love you and respect. I mean, the brother who went before me spoke so many amazing things I don't really need to repeat. But respect and compassion, being a good listener, like those are some of the things that are very important to me, and just being able to spend time together and being forgiving. So that's what I would say.
Thank you so much, Sam. I want to pause for a moment and ask those who are listening and watching to participate. If you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube, if you are a lady, we want to ask you to share, what do you think is your greatest quality? What do you think is your greatest quality if you're a lady? And for the men that are watching, we want you to list what are the qualities that you are looking for. If you're on Clubhouse, ladies, go ahead. And if you don't mind sharing in the chat, what do you believe is your greatest quality? And men, what are the qualities that you are looking for in a woman? What are the qualities that you look for in a woman? We're going to go ahead and go to Pastor Terrence. What are the qualities that you look for in a woman?
Wow. Pastor Jeff, you know that you said that the women are flies on the wall, but my wife is a butterfly on the wall today because she's right here with me.
Well, so all right. Well, hello there, Queen Davis.
Yes, sir. So she's a butterfly on the wall today. And so I said, don't say nothing. Mm-hmm. You can't say nothing. So one of the things that I look for in a woman is it was actually to be open-minded, mm-hmm. and have that flexibility. That was one thing, to be open-minded and not closed-minded, because I am a man that has vision. And so when you're dealing with a man that has vision and he knows, his direction and where he's going, I just want her to be open-minded when she get in the car, so that, the trust, and trust me that, that I know where we are going together. The other thing is that she has it was something that when we met, it was searching for the willingness of completion of oneself and not being selfish or self-centered, always willing to share. And so those were the qualities that I was looking for as I was searching for a helpmate. That's it.
Thank you so very much, Pastor Terrence, who has his butterfly on the wall. Look, we understand what you're going through, bro. We understand it. So we're gonna move on. We'll come back, and those were some great qualities, and we're sure that that your queen has each and every one of those qualities. Want to go to your namesake, King Terrence? What are some qualities that you look for in a woman?
Well, the qualities that I look for when I met my wife, uh, it was her personality. You know, aside from her looks, of course, you know, that's the first thing I saw. She was beautiful, but her personality, she was so down to earth and, you know, not stuck up, willing to let her hair down, willing to be herself. And because I made her comfortable being herself. So what men are looking for, well, men who are looking for a woman with some substance, they're looking for somebody who compliments them and somebody they can compliment as well. I mean, you could have all the looks in the world, Coke bottle shape or what have you, but it's what's in the inside. That's what men are really, really looking for, what's in the inside. Now, some guys are just looking for, you know, a trophy or something to have on their arm or whatever, but they're not looking for anything long term.
Mhm.
So you have to compliment, you know, they're looking for somebody to compliment and they're looking for somebody that they can compliment as well.
Thank you, Brother Terrence. And look here, your namesake done started something. The ladies already putting in the comments. You know, they've been fine with us using this term that we adapted from, you know, the man himself, Mr. Glenn Lundy, as being flies on the wall. Pastor Tina came in here. Now these ladies say we are not flies on the wall, but butterflies. So now we got to change it. We got to call them butterflies. Pastor Tina came here and started some stuff up here in the barbershop conversation, but that's okay. We can handle it. Now, I want to remind the ladies that may be listening is that when you ask the question, what are the qualities that men are looking for in a woman? First of all, we ought to understand that that's going to depend on what the end goal is of the man. If the man is looking for a wife, then there are a set of qualities that he's looking for. But if he is looking for a one night stand or somebody to knock the boots with, then are a separate or a different set of qualities that he's looking for. And so when that question is asked, it should be asked in the context of which set of qualities do you want to fall into? And one of the things I heard from the lady herself, Miss Amelia Antonetti, on this morning in the Breakfast with Champions is something that Pastor Jeff has been saying for a long time. And that is that from a study, the study shows that women look for love and security and that men look for respect. Now, we may not say that off the bat, but that's what we want. We want respect. And how does it show up? It shows up in how you care for us, how you love us, how you forgive, your compassion, being non-judgmental. All of that funnels into the respect. If you give a man respect based off of his definition, and you're going to have to spend some time to learn what his definition is, because every man's definition of respect is a little bit different, but it has to do with how you treat us in public, how you treat us behind closed walls, how you talk to us. Do you listen to us or do you talk over us? Do you build us or do you tear us down? Are you complimenting us and giving us affirmations, or are you argumentative? And as Steve said, are you nagging? So those are some of the things the qualities that men are looking for. And again, it depends. There's some men that aren't ready to settle down, and their list of qualities are going to be completely different than those from men who want to settle down, and men of substance and men of quality. Now, what we want to do is to go back to a question that we did not complete the last time that we were on live. And that question came from a young lady, as a matter of fact, a young lady that I know. And that question was, why are men hesitant to be true to their emotions? Why are men hesitant or even unwilling? I'm being nice, to be true to their emotions. We're going to start out with King Steve, who's looking like a sire there. looks like he ought to be in a castle somewhere. Steve, why is it that men are hesitant or even unwilling to be true to
Right.
their emotions?
The concern is that when it comes to the emotions, men don't like to show that up because they show that we are strong, and they don't want to share it with anybody, not even the partner, because it is something which will make them feel, down in themselves. That's the reason they hide their emotions. Even they are crying, even they are feeling bad, they will show that I am strong. Because it's alpha male, definitely he will do the same thing. But if it is not alpha male, then they might share. If they are into the same zodiac sign we call these days, or we have the horoscopes on that base, there are many types of men in there. So main reason is that to show that I am strong. I don't want to show my emotional side, because if I show it to the person who is connected to me, maybe they attack next time the same thing. The thing is that when I counsel people on that, what ladies do is they keep things in their kitty, right? If something happened today, they will go ahead and next month they're going to share it that you did this thing that day, and you're, this kind of issue. You are emotionally weak. You have this weakness. They don't want to show the weakness, actually. That's the main thing, to show that I am strong. That's it. Thank you.
Steve, do us a favor. You mentioned a term that I've heard thrown out on Clubhouse quite a bit in almost the 2 years that I've been on here, and that is alpha male. Can you give us a definition of what is a alpha male and what is a non-alpha male?
Right. Alpha male is a leader, who leads the herd, who have that strength in himself. He believes in good and he believes in truth. He will definitely, show that side, fight for that he will stand out there, that he will do something good for his family. He will support, he will protect, he will provide. That's the first thing. Second thing is definitely he's going to be bossy. He's going to lead the person that that you have to listen to me. It's my way or highway. That would be one of the things for the alpha male. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm going to come back to that. I like that part you said about he's going to be bossy my way or the highway. We're going to see how that fits in with effective relationships. But we want to go to the Clubhouse again, and we want to start with Sam. Sam, the question again was, why is it that men are either hesitant or unwilling to be true to their emotions? How about it, Sam?
Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Honestly, I was thinking about this, and actually when I finished my other words, I was thinking how strange it was to be asked the question on what are men looking for in women, because I feel like we, most of my life, I feel like, it's been so much push against men, like men are the problems that caused all of this, so much of society's problems over the years, and we don't want to hear you sit down and and I hope nobody takes this the wrong way, but So it was just amazing to be asked that question. And if you could ask that question one more time, I need to collect my thoughts on that.
All right. So, Sam, the question that the ladies wanted to know was, why are men either hesitant or unwilling to be true to their emotions?
Well, one is definitely cultural, and it could be upbringing, depending on how you're brought up. And I mean, I know I was born on a farm and raised on a farm and ranch, milked a cow, and did all of that kind of stuff, and played football. And we were raised to be tough and strong, and which definitely has its qualities and its importance. But it was seen as not 100% the way I was raised, but there was definitely parts of how I was raised that it showed it was weakness, to show emotion, and you always got to be tough, and that definitely was a detriment. Luckily, I've learned more to be more open over the years as I've learned myself better and what I need. And not sure if that answers your question, but that's what I got right now.
Well, thank you, Sam. I want to take a moment again and want to say thank you again to everybody who's joining. I want to give a big shout out to Sear. I want to give a big shout out to Sear. Sear supported from behind the scenes for the conference, as she is the engineer that enables us to go live. I want to give her a shout out as she's handling everything behind the scene here to make sure that the comments get up so that you can see those on the live. And if you aren't joining the live, you really are missing something. You did get on the Facebook and get on the YouTube, and she's making sure that your comments get up so that you can see those, and make sure that we as the guest and the host are doing what we're supposed to do. So big shout out to Sear. Thank you so very much. And again, to all of our guests, whether you're on the live or if you're on the Clubhouse. And so I'm looking at some of those comments. Some are saying it's a great room. And Sarah's putting up the comments of the qualities that the men were looking for. And so again, just want to go ahead and give a big shout out to Sear for what she does behind the scenes. Now we want to go to Pastor Terrence. Pastor Terrence, the question again that we didn't get to complete the last time we were on live is, why is it that men are either hesitant or unwilling to be true to their emotions?
All right. So I'm going to answer this, Jeff, from the perspective. I'm going to answer this personal, and then I'm going to give a little tidbit of what I hear in men group discussions, if I will, right? Is be very brief with it. Personal. Me as just in my own personal life. When I was when my mother was carrying me in her womb, she cried a lot. And so what I believe, because she cried a lot, I became an emotional man. Mm. And on that, it was hard for me to control my emotions in a relationship. I was very sensitive to the needs of others, and just very sensitive man, but not in my feelings, but I was always sensitive to others. Mm-hmm. And I never tried to shut that off, because I saw that worked for the vulnerability of a relationship being expressed and being expressed in such a way that you would the both parties would be able. I was able to build a stronger, healthy relationship, because I didn't have my male ego horns up. And so for me, I wasn't raised in a household to not express your emotions. I was raised in a household that you can express your emotions, but you have to control your emotions, and it's how you express your emotions. And so I kind of went that way. uh, and so that's where I am in my life today. You know, I am working on controlling my emotions as a man, and so that, you know, that's where I am. And
Now,
so,
what does that mean, Terrence? What does that mean, Pastor Terrence?
well, you know, Jeff, I'm glad you asked, because you gave me a new insight on something when you and I were having it, when I was expressing my emotions to you. You said, instead of using the word balance, use the word harmony. That means now what I'm doing, right, to express my emotions, I express my emotions with harmony now. That means that I have found a mailman figure, a couple of mailman figures to just talk to, talk to about, expressing the emotions and how to express the emotions without getting outside of my character, because you can be an emotional man and be outside of your character. And so that is something to watch out for too. So I call it now controlled emotions, knowing when to express when to express the emotions at what particular time, you know. And so there's a time and a place for the emotions to be expressed. And so that's where I am, Pastor Jeff, on that. And one of the things that I heard when I was growing up, there was a statement or a song or something. It says, emotions make you cry sometimes.
You know what, though, Pastor Terrence?
Yeah.
You see, what I call tears is God's angels washing our face. We all need a good cry sometimes. One of my brothers, I believe his last name is Wilson. I'm not exactly sure. I forget. But anyway, he wrote a book about that. He's from Detroit, Michigan, about men and crying. And I think we need to read, look at how men approach crying, because it's a clearing out, it's an emptying. And if Jesus could cry, I like to say this, and I don't hide the fact that I am a believer of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and whatever you believe in, that's what you believe in. But if Jesus, the greatest man to ever live, could cry, he gave permission then to every man in the world to cry and show his emotions. Look, Brother Terrence, we're going to come back to it. We're going to go to your namesake, Brother Terrence Elmore. Why is it that men are either hesitant or just won't show or be true to their emotion?
Okay, I have two answers. The first one is something that we talked about this before, was just knowing that they're in a safe space to be true to their emotions and show their emotions. A place where they can, let out what's really going on, and it won't be thrown back in their face later. Like when an argument comes up, sometimes people like to say stuff to hurt each other, and a man wants to know that he can be vulnerable around you, and you still look at him as a man, especially when arguments and things are going on. And then another point I thought about, nobody really mentioned, was just maybe, to him, he's actually being true to his emotions, which is keeping them bottled up. Because most times growing up, most of us, we're taught when we fall and hurt ourselves to get up, brush it off, and keep going. But as an adult, that translates into when you fall and stumble or have some mishaps, you just brush it off, but you never sit and really assess the problem and see what's going on. So what you may think may be like a slight injury on the outside is actually internal, and that's never been dealt with. So I think it's two things, finding a safe space and being comfortable. And also, this is how being true to your emotions has been all your life. And you don't know any other way. Nobody has exposed you to really diving into your emotions and let you know it's okay. We all have emotions. We all, you know, handle them differently. But some of us, especially as men, we taught to hold that stuff in and just hold it tight. And so there is no other way but just to do that. So I think it's just those two things, that if you create a safe space, and, let a man to know it's okay to express your emotions, or, if he hasn't had experience expressing his emotions, find a way, with him, not by yourself, but find a way with him, if he's willing to actually tap into those emotions and, get to the root. Because a lot of problems and things we have as adults stem from our childhood. things that we've held back, things that we haven't really talked about. And it's not necessarily on purpose, but we probably never just looked at it and realized that's something that we're carrying. So yeah, those are my two things.
Thank you so very much, Terrence. You bring up two very good points, and I'm going to come right back to those points. I'm going to take a moment here to encourage all of our viewers, whether you're viewing on Facebook or you're viewing on YouTube. Somebody's going to receive a gift. Pastor Jeff has no idea who it is, but I can give you a key. You might want to know what color tie it is that Steve is wearing on the live. You might want to know what color tie Steve is wearing on the live. That might or might not have something to do with who receives a gift or not. And with that being said, I want to go back to what Terrence said. Terrence, you said something. I want to go to the second thing that you said, which is that a man may be true to what his cultural expectations are, to what he has been taught, and that is that men are supposed to keep their emotions bottled up. So he's being true to what he has been taught. And if we are taught the wrong thing, some people say that that is brainwashing. If we are brainwashed, we go by what we've been brainwashed to believe. And so that is a very good point that you brought up. But the very first point that you brought up, I think is something that not only men will agree with, but the women need to hear. The butterflies, if you will, on the wall ought to be taking some notes on this one, Terrence, and that is a man is not going to be emotional around a woman if he does not feel safe. I'm going to say that one more time. A man is not going, and I see Steve shaking his head in agreement. A man is not going to be vulnerable. He's not going to express his emotions. He's not going to come out of that mold that he's expected to be in if he does not feel safe. And the moment a woman makes that environment unsafe, then what men are going to do, we're going to retreat right back into our man cave, and we're not going to come back out. I tell you from experience, I shared something with my first wife, and she turned around and used it against me, and I didn't bring that information back out again for more than 10 years. I went back, Steve, into the man cave because it was not safe to be vulnerable around her. So, ladies, Steve said it earlier. You got to watch what you say. Even if you're thinking it, you might want to express it around your girlfriends and not around your man, because you need to make sure that the space that he is in is safe. If he can't have a safe place in the workplace, if he can't have a safe place around his brothers, and we didn't even get into that part of what we think when we are around other men. I really wanted to get in that, but we're not going to do that this time, is understanding that there's a man code, whether you believe it or not. I think Steve Harvey talked about it. There's a man code, and there's certain things you just don't do with other men that break the man code. And one of those things, for the most part, unless you're in a certain environment, you don't get around the men and start letting tears flow down your eyes unless you're in the right environment. And so that's something that we need to learn. So thank you so very much, Terrence, for bringing that up. And again, if you're just joining in, you are joining the Tom Ford Fridays, the barbershop men's conversation right here on the Clubhouse, right here on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Pastor Jeff, your host, and we've got some kings, some married, some divorced, and some single that are letting the ladies, the butterflies, know, because they can't speak. They're butterflies on the wall, thanks to Pastor Terrence and Pastor Terrence's beautiful wife. They are butterflies on the wall, just listening and taking notes. And if you're enjoying this, go ahead and put some black and white hearts on the Clubhouse, on the Facebook, and on the YouTube. Put some black and white hearts if you're enjoying this black and white Tom Ford Fridays. And that, if you don't know what that is, Tom Ford was a designer, and he designed using the colors black and white, and that's what we have. You know, it's simple. Most every man has black and white. And Steve came, he brought some color to it this week, and he's looking absolutely dapper with that tie that he has on. And I'm not going to mention, you need to tell us, or you may need to know what color tie that is. Well, gentlemen, we're about 40 minutes into the program, and we're just getting to the men's question. And this is the men's question. I want you to listen to me careful. This is the men's question. We're going to come to you first, Steve, but we're going to give you a moment to think about it. And this question is, we know that whether married, whether single, whether divorced or not, men's time, is important to them. Men's time is important. The question is, how do you, as a man, segment your time for a relationship, or your time for dating, or your time for a woman? Just make it clear. How do you segment your time for a woman, whether she's your wife, whether she's your girlfriend, and I'm going to use my age, whether she's a suitable suitor, whether she's a possibility for a wife, or whether she's fits in that other category? How do you segment your time? Steve, we're coming to you. We want to know. This is a man's thing. This isn't a woman's question. This is a man's thing. How do we as men segment our time to make time for a woman? Steve, how about it?
It all depends on the beginning. When you date somebody, or you're getting married to somebody, you're getting in a relationship, you have to be very open for it. Like, what are your good sides? What are your bad sides? What's your time management? What do you follow? What are your principles? So if my principles are that I am waking up in the morning and I'm going for exercise, jogging, or gym, after that, I'm coming back, I'm reading something. So you have to tell this everything to the woman you are getting in a relationship with. If she already have this in the mind, then there's no problem. If you don't tell your partner things, the problem these days is like when you go on a date, we wear, suppose, good clothes, put on a perfume and talk nice, table manners, everything. But we hide that side. What is my schedule? What's my routine? What I do at home? How I am. So when we hide that, later when that person comes to you and you get into a relationship, they find out that this is not that person who is putting the perfume all the time. The person who is in the bed like most of the time, in the phone, or playing a computer game, or whatever they're doing. So you have to say that in the beginning. It's really easy if you say it in the beginning and tell the person that this is my time, this is my timetable, and you have a look on this. So I would be following this. If you're gonna get into that, you're gonna nag me on that, so maybe it would be a concern for us. So it's better you understand me, and that means that if the woman is understanding, definitely there's no problem. So you easily can tell them this is my segment. That's how I do, and then I will have only 1 hour for you, but that will be only for you. That depends upon the man. If I have a schedule, I am following the schedule, obviously there is no problem, because the other person knows that this is my schedule. Say suppose when I go for a meeting, I have a secretary. She makes the schedule. Today you have a meeting with this person, this time and this time. So I know my schedule. I forward the schedule to everybody, to my family, or to my brother, sister, or my friends also. So they know exactly what's my schedule, so no problem for me. Because I'm open to that, they can't bother me at that point of time. So I can manage the time as per my wish. So other person knows it. So that's how you can easily manage it, and that's how it should be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. I want to ask you one more question, Steve, before we go to the other men, because you mentioned the importance of a schedule to you. Now, as a person who does relationship counseling and facilitating, one of the things that I've discovered over the years is that women may understand the schedule, but they want to be special. And because they want to be special, they want to break the schedule. They want you to change or rearrange your schedule so that they feel special. Steve, what do you say to that? How do you feel when the woman wants you to rearrange your schedule so that she can feel special?
Most definitely, you sometimes can. As you go to the gym, you have a schedule there too, but you have a cheat day. You know what I mean? So you can talk to your lady about it, and definitely yes, if you can rearrange something wherein she wants some more time, if you can, you're playing for 1 hour, you say I'll do it for half an hour. You go for jogging for 15 minutes, you make it for 10 minutes. You go for gym for 2 hours, you make it for 1 hour, so you have more time. So it's about opening up, understanding, and talking about it. Now, what happens in relationships that when I counsel, so women or men both, they think that our partners are genies. They know me, what they know me. So actually, they don't know anything about you. What's inside you, what you want, what you're thinking. So you have to express yourself, and then sit down on a table and definitely find out a possibility. There is a possibility everywhere. You may cancel some meeting, you may cancel your gym, you may cancel it for one day, or change your routine too. That can be done. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. We're going to go to the clubhouse and we're going to go to King Jacoby. We're glad to be able to bring him into the conversation. King Jacoby, if you're able to speak, can you flash your mic? All right, we'll bring the question to you. The question is for men. How do you as a king, how do you as a man segment your time for a woman?
I mean,
Yeah, I'll be in tomorrow. Yep.
it all starts with paying attention. You know what I mean? Just paying attention to her, and noticing the things that makes her happy. Earlier you spoke on a woman being special, and a woman is a special person. The world itself can be very, very hard and harsh, and especially for a man. And a man finds something good when he finds a wife, but he actually finds something great when he finds a woman who understands what a man goes through. So if she's there for you, in conversation, she's not there, nitpicking at everything. She's not the argumentative type. She's down for the conversation. She sees what you go through. She's adding, wisdom to your knowledge, and being that bridge to understanding for you. By all means, you're definitely supposed to, allocate the necessary amount of time that you need to, to make her happy. But for me, it really starts with, paying attention and listening. Because if you really care about someone really cares about you. They learn a lot about you by just, taking the time to really pay attention to you and understand you.
So if I understand you, what I hear you saying, King Jacoby, is that a man will make time to put a woman into his schedule, and he's looking for her to understand, which means she's going to have to listen to what it is that a man goes through. Is that what I heard?
True indeed, and it definitely takes understanding, because to me, I tell everyone that asks me. To me, love is the highest level of understanding. So, because there's no way that you can say you love someone, or someone can say that they love you, if they don't fully understand you. Because if you take that time to reach that level of understanding, you can't help but love that person for who they are, not what they can do for you, but for who they are. And anyone that takes that time out, and from a man's perspective, men, any woman that takes that time out to understand you for who you are, be that helpmate to, as I put it earlier, be, the wisdom to your knowledge to bridge you, to understanding. You definitely take that time out for her to make her happy. Because why? Because she will take the time out for you, as well as give you the time you need to do what you need to do.
Thank you, King Jacoby, because what I hear you saying before I go to King Sam is that if and when a woman wants the king to adjust his schedule for her, that the first thing is that she's got to adjust her schedule for him to learn who he is, because every man is not the same. We may all be males, but we are not the same. And we see Brother Jonathan has joined us, and we'll come back to King Jonathan here in a moment. But we're going to go to King Sam. Sam, we heard you admit at the beginning of the room that you had a greater appreciation for your beautiful wife Vandy and taking care of the children and what it is that she does while she was attending the 5th annual Power to Soar conference. So the question for you is, how do you segment your time for your queen?
Thank you. And I think a big part of that has to do with, in my case, my wife, what her love language is, you know. And a lot of these questions I think can go both ways. You know, we talked a lot about understanding, and you know, and it's great to think of, oh, what can my wife do for me? What do I like? And you know, but being a real man is also like, you know, I'm trying to be introspective and like turning it the other way too. And what can I do for her? You know, what can I do to try to understand her better? And she can tell you the things that I do pretty good at understanding her and the things I don't do very good at. But as far as saving my time, like so in my case, like for her, you know, she likes dates and things like that. But, you know, romantic times at times, you know, but some of the best love language is when I load the dishwasher, when I take school. And, you know, just simple acts of service, or I send her a text once in a while, you know, and still surprise her with the little things, and just, you know, bringing her her favorite drink up sometimes. And, you know, it's sometimes the simplest things that mean so much more than the big ones. And so to me, segmenting my time is, I mean, yes, I think both men and women need to understand that we all have things on our mind, things we got to do, goals and ambitions, and we also need to respect that, and yet find the time to be thinking about each other, just simple little things.
All right. Well, thank you so very much, Sam. And I like that, is that, you know, as men, we may talk about the schedule, but for those women who are very special in our lives, we adjust it. And they become a part of who we are, and not so much not so much the scheduling, although we do keep schedules, because as men, there are responsibilities that we have. But then, as you said, doing those little things of taking a moment to send a text, putting the dishes in the dishwasher, taking the trash out, or whatever it is. The key thing that you said, Sam, is knowing Vendy's love language, because if we show love outside of our mate's love language, it literally creates a love deficit, but then it creates a issue for us, because we become frustrated that we're doing all we think we know how to do, and it doesn't seem to be or have the ROI, or return on investment, that we think we ought to have. Well, let me move on, because our time is ticking. Want to go to Pastor Terrence. Pastor Terrence, very succinctly, how do you segment your time for your butterfly?
Hey, my butterfly is still on the wall. She has not flown away. She's listening to everything I gotta say right now. And I'm gonna keep it 100 today.
Okay.
I'm working on that, Pastor Jeff.
All right.
I'm working on that, because, you know, ambition, and when you have great ambition, and you know, you're holding it down for your family, and you're making sure that everything is taken care of and everybody else is taken care of. is finding that word that we talked about called harmony.
Mhm.
And so one thing that I have said to my wife at certain points in our relationship pertaining that time is, let's not play relationship games with each other
Mhm.
for attention.
Mhm.
Just say what you mean and mean what you say. And, let's collaborate. Let's communicate about it. And we can compromise. We can always compromise, because sometimes we miss it. I miss it sometimes. And I want to be able to admit that I missed it. I missed it, but let me recover
Mhm.
if I missed it. And so that's where I am, brother. And one thing that I do know for sure that is a principle in my life is I make time for what's important and a priority to me in my life. And because I'm committed, then she becomes a priority that I make time for. I'm out.
Pastor Terrence, we appreciate the fact that you said you're still working on it. And the truth be told, most of us are, whether it's the ladies or the men, we work on these relationships because all of us are evolving and changing, whether we admit it or not. We're not the same person that we looked at in the mirror on yesterday. As a matter of fact, we're not even the same person we looked at the mirror at this morning, because we are, and I know y'all might not like this word, but we are aging. We can't help it. That's how life is designed. So I like the fact that you said that you're still working on it, because the truth is told, all of us are working on it. But Pastor Terrence, you said something Pastor Jeff has been saying for a long time, and that is that men, for the most part, are simple. We say what we mean what we say. Oftentimes, the butterflies want to go through their dictionary, which is a woman's dictionary and not a man's dictionary, and their definitions do not match the man's definition in the man's book. So we're going to move on, because our time is coming closely to a halt. I'm not going to say an end, to a halt for this session. So I want to go to Jonathan, who has been, as a matter of fact, for the time, he's been doing what men do. He's been taking care of business. So he had to segment his time to be able to share time with us. Minister Jonathan, how do you segment your time for women?
Can you hear me? First of all, let's do a mic
We
check.
can hear you.
Perfect. Well, at the end of the day, it's probably why I've been single all my life, because, yeah, it's a lot
You're
of work.
working on it.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Yeah. So when I look at the situation on what you need to do to be successful in a relationship, I realize that that's why, again, I don't have one, because it's just a lot of moving parts. And I guess, and the Lord very fortunately put me in a position where, I didn't have to worry about that. So I have, one daughter. My mom helped me raise her. I mean, she's 42 years old now. So, I mean, no grandkids. So I don't have any of the kind of responsibilities that most people have at my age. So, and to be very candid, I'm kind of used to that. So it certainly would be a transition of work, for me to, be in a, committed relationship, because as you can see, I'm working here, and I'm at a dealership. But then in addition, I do, sports talk radio. I do digital media. So, it would definitely, it would have to be the right situation, and that person would have to, they would have to care for me enough to put up with the decreased hours of availability. And I think that's about all I can say about that.
Well, Pastor Johnson, we bring the live show to a halt and take it on to Clubhouse up until the 2:00 hour. You bring up a very good point, and that is that time, that scheduling, it's work. How do you, in getting the right amount of time, and in the right schedule, and in your position is work. For those who are already in a committed relationship, it is work. And again, as Pastor Jeff says, it's not finding balance, but finding the harmony. Because what Mr. Steve's lady may require, the amount of time may be different than what Pastor Jeff's lady requires versus what Pastor Terrence Butterfly requires. And each of us as individual men have to find out what is that harmony with the woman that we're in a relationship with. But not only that, that woman has to understand what's the right amount of harmony for us so that we don't mind investing that time. Because at the end of the day, you know, as Steve said, that alpha man, and I'm not saying that Pastor Jeff agrees with the ideology of an alpha man or a bravo man, but that man that understands taking care of responsibility, that man who is a leader, that man who is a role model, that man is just going to make sure that he is providing security for his woman. Those are the top priorities. And he's going to make sure he's doing that regardless. And unfortunately, some women who desire that then become jealous of the time spent in doing that and the time that's actually spent with them. Well, look, Kings, we're going to take this to the clubhouse as our hour has expired here live. And if you're enjoying this live, go ahead and again, put in the comments what you got out of, what was your greatest takeaway on Facebook, on YouTube. Put it in the comments, and we're going to take this show now right back to the clubhouse from your house. Gentlemen, thank you so very much for joining us live, and we're going to go to our commercials.